Okay, so my buddy Clay has been reading Worm, which is just exciting for me because I feel I have someone else I could talk about it with. I feel like I'm kind of vicariously rereading it. And something he had discussed during like the first few arcs is that this story oftentimes reminds me of JoJo in a good way, where I feel like a lot of times the fights are decided by people being really clever with their powers. Like Taylor can control bugs, and that doesn't sound particularly strong at first blush, but with the different ways that she uses it, with how creative she can be with it, and then when you really think about it and a lot of the bugs that exist, yeah, Taylor's actually really strong. And he had said something to the effect of, like powers remind me of stands, and like in that way, and just with how esoteric some powers can be. And he had made some kind of comment about giving them different stand names. And then I took it and ran with it, and it's something like we kind of like talked about off and on for like a few days or so. And then earlier this week, I was like, it's been on the brain. That's the worm I got in my brain. I gotta start giving people stands. So, the rules that I did, and I'll go ahead and admit that I broke some of them, is number one, let me try that again. I'm gonna go and give a disclaimer. I did not do every character in Worm. Let me start with that. Essentially, what I really wanted to do is I want to do the Undersiders. I want to do like the Brockton Bay Wards, the 8 members of the Slaughterhouse 9 that are first introduced in the story, some other characters I really like Defiant, Dragon, etc., etc. We'll just kind of go as we go. And if there's some characters I ignore because I couldn't think of anything or I just don't care about the character, like Teacher, I didn't do them. I'll also say I kept forgetting about Fault Line's crew, so I didn't do anyone from Fault Line's crew. My bad. But still, like, we'll go through the list, but I do want to go and say I did not do every character. So, your stand name is something music related. It is either an artist, a song, or an album. I tried to do only one stand per artist. Like, at one point, I had... What was it? I had Weld as the song Iron Man by Black Sabbath, which it's on the nose, but it's pretty fitting for what Weld is. But then I realized later I wanted to use a Black Sabbath album for someone else. I was like, okay, I don't want to double down here. So I changed that. With one exception, and I'll get to that exception when we'll get to it when we get to it. Also, in general, I kind of tried to avoid, like, using show tunes or anime openings and stuff like that. Mostly just like, okay, like, what is something you would hear on the radio or if, like, you were kind of going down a music rabbit hole? Again, with a couple exceptions. I have one song that's from a movie and one song that's from an anime. Without further ado, we're going to get into the list. So for the Undersiders. Oh, no, sorry. One other rule I do think I should get into. For characters that have changed their identity, like Armsmaster into Defiant, that does not change his stand name because it does not change his power. But someone like Gru, who has a power and then gets a second trigger event and gets another power, to me, those both get different names. To me, I'm seeing it as something akin to like the stand arrow. So, without further ado, getting into it. So, Skitter gets Iron Butterfly. Tattletale is Big Data. Gru is, it's on the nose, but Gru is the Darkness. And then his second ability is Little Dark Age, which is an album by Management. I like to call them Migman. I think it's fun. Bitch is Bloodhound Gang. I was so close to... I really wanted to give her Who Let the Dogs Out. Like, that makes me laugh, but I'm sorry. Bloodhound Gang, I think that sounds cool. That's fun. Regent gets a Metallica album. He gets Master of Puppets. Imp is Invisible Hands, a song by Deadlights. Perry, I'm never sure if it's Perrion or Parian. Her stand is Murder Dolls. Foil is Bullet for My Valentine. Did I say Valentine? Bullet for My Valentine. And Kepri gets March of the Black Queen, which is a Queen song. I'm very partial to that pick. Okay. So then going into the Travelers, Trickster has Journey, which I looked into it. I thought that had to be a stan. And I was like, if Journey is a stan, I'm going to give him Separate Ways, which is a Journey song. But I couldn't find that. But when I looked it up, I just found like, on like the fandom wiki specifically, which to me made it sound like this is a fanon ability. So if I got that wrong and Journey is an actual stand, Separate Ways. If not, he can stick with Journey. Sundancer is Here Comes the Sun, the Beatles song. Ballistic, it's a 21 Pilot song. Guns for Hands. Clay came up with that one. I liked that a lot. Noel, I gave The Black Parade, the My Chemical Romance album. Oliver gets One Day as a Lion. Perdition, this is the exception. And like we'll get to the other character that has something else by this artist. He gets a Queen of the Stone Age album, Like Clockwork, which I really like the name of that for his, I said for his stand, but I guess it is. Just for his power and how it works, being stuck in a time loop, your actions become like clockwork. I really liked that. And then Genesis gets Dream Theater. I don't think Dream Theater's been a stand. Okay, so Slaughterhouse 9. So for this, it was like the 8 members that appear in Brockton Bay, and then anyone else in the group that I could just like think of something for, I gave him something. So Jack Slash is Radiohead, Shatterbird, Castle of Glass, which is a Linkin Park song. Mannequin is World Container, which is an album by the Tragically Hip. Crawler, this is one of my exceptions. He gets the Into the Spider-Verse song, What's Up, Danger? Bonesaw is Fleshed Apocalypse. Cherish gets Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler, featuring Meatloaf. Burn Scar gets the Hozier song, Arsonist Lullaby. Siberian is I Set to Kill. Grey Boy, really like Grey Boys. It is the Kanye West album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Screamer gets the Skillet song, Whispers in the Dark. Ashley, so that's a Damsel of Distress. Ashley gets the Guns N' Roses album, Appetite for Destruction. King is Every Time I Die. Hook Wolf is Temple Wolf. So with some of the characters that are in the Birdcage, with Panacea, I gave her Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison. Marquis gets the Cramps album, Off the Bone. Lung. So Lungs is Unleash the Dragon. That, I think, is a really good title for Lungs Power. And I was like, okay, who made this album? Cisco. This is the album that has the Thong song. That's why I was just laughing when I found it. Like, oh, that's great. Let's go. Valkyrie, I don't remember how to pronounce her other, like Gastic Winye or something. Valkyrie is, look, she's getting Wagner's Ride of the Valkyrie. I'm sorry, that's too perfect not to use. Canary, I gave Bittersweet Symphony by The Verve, and legally also by the Rolling Stones. Ingenue gets the Stevie Wonder song Part-Time Lovers, and Bakura, she was technically in the Birdcage at some point, because I didn't really do the ABB. I never did something for Oni Lee. Bakura, I gave Explosions in the Sky. So the wards, like the Brockton Bay wards, I didn't do the Chicago wards except for Golem. Weld gets the Gary Newman song Cold Metal Rhythm. Clock Blocker is Jim Croce's Crochet. He gets Time in a Bottle. Aegis is Indestructible, a Disturbed album. Gallant is Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith. Vista is The Space Between by the Dave Matthews Band. Kid Win is Electric Wizard. Victoria gets the sorry, my brain completely stopped. Victoria gets All That Remains, and Shadowstalker gets the Ice Cube album, The Predator. And then just some like kind of characters in the PRT. Defiant gets Technical Ecstasy. That was the Black Sabbath album I wanted to use. Dragon is Daft Punk. Miss Militia. So I found a song, I don't remember who it was by because I didn't go with it, called Guns, Guns, Guns. So like, oh, that's so good. That's like so perfect for Miss Militia. But then I found the Al Dexter song, Pistol Packin' Mom. That is so funny. I'm using that for Miss Militia and you can't stop me. Chevalier is Valiant Hearts. And then with the Triumvirate, Legend is Night Laser. Eidolon is the Fall Out Boy album, Infinity on High, and I gave Alexandria Godsmack. I think that just sounded cool as hell. The Endbringers. Originally, I was not gonna do the Endbringers. I'm like, I mean, do I really have a stand? I don't really know how that would work here. But I was just kind of listening to some of my songs, like one of my playlists, and I heard the Bobby Darin song, Splish Splash, I was taking a bath, long about a Saturday night. Like, oh my gosh. That's Leviathan. Like, that's so funny. I just started imagining like the Leviathan arc happening and this absolutely brutal fight as you're just hearing bang bang, I saw the whole like, it slayed me. It was so funny. Like, alright, they all have to get stands now. So that's Leviathan's. Behemoth got Megadeth. And I gave Dark Side of the Moon to the Seaberg by Pink Floyd. And something, I didn't do this intentionally, but I think it's really neat that for the three Endbringers, one gets an artist, one gets a song, and one gets an album. It was perfectly balanced, unintentionally, but it still was. And then just some kind of other miscellaneous characters. Purity got Empire of the Sun. Accord got the Matchbox 20 album Mad Season. Coil, I gave The Vampire of Time and Memory, also by Queens of the Stone Age. Also, that is the same album as Like Clockwork. The reason I did that exception is, number one, I love that song. I think of all the albums I listened to last year, that was probably my favorite song that I had heard. And I was talking to a friend about it, and he's like, yeah, I think The Vampire of Time and Memory is like the perfect name for like a final boss stand in JoJo. And while Coil is not the final boss of this story, he has a very final boss, like JoJo final boss kind of power. And I was like, I mean, if he's like creating other worlds and like deleting them, the deletion, kind of a vampire, like not quite, but sort of. I'm gonna give it to him. And then I was like Clockwork is such a good name for Perdition's power. I'm gonna make an exception here. So there's that one. Scion gets the EF album Morning, Golden Morning, and the first morning is spelled M-O-U-R, and then the second morning is M-O-R. Golem is Sleight of Hand. Night, I didn't think of one for Fog, but I was listening to Rhythm of the Night by Corona. I'm like, here you go, Night. That's fun. Hilbach is Goblin Island, which is an album by, gosh, what is it called? Necrogoblicon. The Number Man, I gave the Oasis album Heathen Chemistry. Contessa, this is one of my favorites. It's the DJ Khaled song, All I Do Is Win. That's so fucking perfect for Path to Victory. Sweet Victory also would have been acceptable, but I'm sorry. She even, like, what do you do? I win. Like, all I do is win. It's so good. Butcher. This is another one of my exceptions. I gave her the song You Say Run from My Hero Academia, because when I was reading Butcher, I'm like, this is just one for all. This is 100% one for all. You're getting this, I'm sorry. Dinah, I gave the Porcupine Tree album Fear of a Blank Planet, and Topsy Turvy, I gave Falling in Reverse. So that was it. Those are the Worm stand names that I had come up with. Like I said, I didn't do everybody. I kept forgetting about Fault Line's crew entirely. So I don't really intend to do a part 2, but maybe if I do, there's other characters I could do. If you think of anything for characters I missed, or if you think there's something better for a character I did do, let me know. But I think that's it for this. See you.